Hello and welcome to the first bonus video, and this one I'm going to be talking about Maya ASCII versus Maya binary. This is for those who are interested. We can actually save between Maya ASCII file or Maya binary files when it comes to Maya. And it pretty much comes down to if you understand what ASCII versus binary is. Binary, zeros and ones. ASCII, it's a little bit easier to read code, pretty much. And you can even see from the default, both of these files are the exact same thing. And really, it's the copy of the blank Maya file. There are no files inside. It's very empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly create like a cube right here, and file, save scene as, and I'm just going to have this as Maya ASCII, and save that as Maya MA, and I'm going to also save this as the Maya binary version. I'm going to save over, just so you can kind of see the difference between the two. So both these have a cube, and we can see right now just 2 kilobytes difference. Now, in general, we want to use Maya ASCII because if you happen to be working at a company or know someone who knows how to read ASCII, Maya ASCII files, and your file gets corrupted and you have a whole lot of work on it, that they might be able to salvage your file by finding where the problem is inside the code backend. Maya binary, it's a smaller file size, so it's a little friendlier for sending files through the internet. But if something happens to your file and gets corrupted, you're pretty much, yeah, let's just say you're gonna have issues. Because what you can do is we can actually right click on any of these Maya files, and by default it's going to open up with Maya, but we can actually open up with like Notepad or another text writing software. So if I open up a Notepad with Maya ASCII, we can see that it is pretty easy to read. Like, there are some elements that you might not understand, like what's a double and all this kind of stuff. But if I do the same thing for Maya binary, open with, and let's look at Notepad as well. So this is the Notepad version of the Maya binary versus Maya ASCII. So here, let's get them side by side. So I'm sure you can see which one is much easier to read and edit and clean up. We can see some areas, edit at your own risk. And there are some elements that are a little bit more legible, but then there are areas where it's just very difficult. And so this is where it helps with a better idea on Maya ASCII versus Maya binary, on what is going to be much easier to manage and deal with. We can see, like, as we get along, it's a little bit easier, but Maya ASCII, it's just, this is not set up properly. Like, all these like slash n's, they should actually be a new line. But at least this code is much easier to deal with than the Maya binary. So that's why Maya ASCII is important. Uh, Also, if you end up opening it in an older version of Maya, sometimes it's just easy to go with where it says required Maya. So let's say if it's Maya 2020, I can just change this to Maya 2020 and all these other versions, 2020, and it'll usually be fine in the end. So yeah, that's Maya ASCII versus Maya binary. I find binary files get a little, they get more issues in the long run versus Maya ASCII. So just try to stick to Maya ASCII. It's going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to this. We're going to dive into other file formats later on when we are bringing, if we need to bring our geometry into other software. So, but yeah, that is Maya ASCII versus Maya binary.